Last night was really cool, and here's why. After me grinding, essentially, with Yoshimitsu in Tekken 8 for what, some 3 weeks, I hit purple ranks with him. Now, for those who don't know, just like with Street Fighter 6, there's separate ranks in ranked matches for Tekken. You start down, I want to say you start at, like, gray, and then it goes to, like, light blue, green, yellow, orange, red, and then purple, okay? And there's still more above that. There's blue, like dark blue, and then gold, which is like the top level. And then if you're like one of the best in the world, you get one of those super premier exclusive titles that you can't get unless you're like #1 or something like that, right?
So for all of my audio style listeners, I just had a scroll of all of the colors and the corresponding ranks, and DSP actually pretty much nailed it. So I at least have to give DSP a shout out for being able to remember what order the colors went in for the Tekken 8 ranks. Not a very important thing to know, not something that's absolutely vital to playing the game or even being good at it. But hey, when he gets something right, you gotta give him a big ups for that, because it doesn't happen too often.
So, in perspective here, what I hit last night with Yoshimitsu would be the equivalent of, say, getting like low to mid-level diamond in Street Fighter 6, okay? Not master rank yet. Master rank, I would argue, would probably be around like mid-level blue to gold, okay? But I'm like one tier below that. And that's pretty good. Because again, as I keep explaining to you guys, which a lot of people don't seem to understand, I don't really have a competitive background nor a lot of competitive knowledge when it comes to Tekken.
And while that might be true about recent Tekken games, specifically Tekken 7, that's not entirely true. He has a trophy from a Tekken tournament at his local mall. He was at least familiar enough with the game to beat a bunch of randoms in a public setting how many years ago? And I understand that that was years ago against a bunch of randoms in a mall and doesn't actually really account to anything. But if he's going to use this to boost his own ego, if he's going to make it sound like he's better than he really is, then he needs to tell the whole truth about it. You don't get to sit here and say that you don't know anything about Tekken, you don't play it competitively, and you're not really familiar with it when you have a history with competitive Tekken, at least to some extent. Because honestly, a Tekken tournament at your local mall is further than a lot of people are willing to go with their fighting game prowess. Most people are just going to play the game online or with their friends locally, and that'll be the end of the story. That's as good as they're ever going to get. That's all the competition they're ever going to see.
I've played the series over the years. I know basics like Paul Phoenix. You saw on day 1, I jumped in with Paul and I got a big win streak, right? But outside of that, I don't have that level of experience. And so for me to have jumped into a different fighting game franchise other than Street Fighter, and within a month of the game coming out, essentially getting to pretty good rankings with a character is pretty big of an accomplishment for me. And a lot of people have even said that this game is harder than Street Fighter. I agree with that, actually. And a lot of people are also saying that even YouTubers who play Tekken are having an issue getting out of red into purple. A lot of them kind of hang around high red, low purple, and they juggle back and forth, but they have a hard time hitting it. So it's an accomplishment for me.
Well, DSP, I'm glad that you managed to find something to care about when it came to video games, because for so long you didn't care about anything when it came to video games and you just wanted to get them finished with so you could make more money on the next one. I'm glad you're finally having fun with something. I'm glad you finally set goals in a game for yourself. Not that they're important or matter in the reality of everything, but it's important to have these kind of goals. It's important to set standards for yourself and try and accomplish them in the video games you play. It creates the fun when there's not an actual goal to achieve. Since the creation of Xbox achievements, Steam achievements, and PlayStation trophies, I've actually been a big fan myself, and this is kind of in a similar vein. The ranking systems in these fighting games give you something to show off, to say that you've accomplished this task in a video game that doesn't really matter, but you took the time to do anyway. And achievements and trophies have always been the same exact way for me. They give you a reason to play the game differently, to strive to be better, to accomplish more in the game. It really adds a lot of replayability to these games that you could be bored with fairly quickly. It makes you do challenge runs or try try and beat best times or try and get a higher score or whatever the game is. So while I'm happy that DSP actually set himself a goal and found something to strive for, I am not here for the self-fellatio. I think he's tooting his own horn just a little bit. I think he's just artificially inflating his ego for something that many people were able to do much before him.
All right, again, someone who I felt like at one point, any attempt to get good at fighting games was in my past. I hear the landscapers outside. I'm going to have to close the window in a second.
Well, DSP, you knew what day it was. It's Wednesday. The landscapers are always outside on a Wednesday. I don't know why you even start the pre-stream with the window open, knowing that they're going to be there. It's almost like you're looking for an excuse to get up and walk off the camera. One of the most obnoxious things that you do. You have actually one job during a podcast, and it's to be in front of the microphone talking and saying something interesting, and you manage to even mess that up by walking away.
But yeah, like, I really felt that way. First of all, I'm in my 40s. You know what I mean? Like, I played competitive Street Fighter at a high level in my early to mid 20s. And then I basically tapped out. You know what I mean? Like I said, forget this. Did I play Street Fighter after that? Yeah, for YouTube, dicking around. Playing, you know, Madness series, picking each random character and essentially just messing around, doing sets, swearing at the TV, swearing at the people on the other end of the internet for fun.
So I guess this is the perfect time to cut in since he decided to just get up and walk away for the millionth time this year already. He's completely retconning the fact that he went to tournaments after he started YouTube. He tried to continue to play competitively after he started his YouTube channel. He went to these tournaments, he tried to compete, he tried to record other people's footage and continuously got in trouble for it. So this entire thing is just a retcon. And saying that you tapped out of something is a very weird way to put it. I mean, it kind of was that way though, because DSP couldn't hang with the big dogs. He consistently got put in his place all of the time, so he did kind of tap out. But let me jump forward a little bit, that way the guy's actually sitting in his seat, you know, doing the show that he's supposed to be doing.
Okay, the point I'm making here is, for the last 15 years, I haven't actually tried to be good at Street Fighter, okay?
I hate this. I hate when people do this. When they try and justify how bad they were previously because they weren't actually trying, you guys. They totally weren't trying to be good. They weren't trying to be successful. They weren't trying to win. That's why they lost. That's why they were bad. That's why they failed. It's just obnoxious and completely transparent. And all you have to do is go watch the Salt compilations of him playing Street Fighter V. Because if he wasn't trying to be good at the game, if he didn't care about it, then why was he getting so salty? Why was he getting so frustrated with a game that he didn't care about, according to him? And he says this shit all the time. Anytime that he's not good at anything, he just claims he wasn't trying, didn't care, and totally is moving on positively. Because this is the guy who's constantly telling everybody that it doesn't matter whether you win or lose in a match, as long as you walk away learning something to improve yourself. That's what being a good loser is about, and that's how you win competitive matches. But yet anytime this guy loses, he didn't care. Sound good? Sounds good to me. And by the way, categories.
One of the things that everyone has always made fun of me for is a comment that I made like over a decade ago. And I think it was something to the effect of, I can be good at games competitively if I try. Like any game I could pick up and play at a competitive level if I actually dedicated myself to it.
That wasn't the quote at all, actually. But due to my inability to actually find the clip anymore, I swear I'm being Mandela affected. The only thing that I can actually have to show for this is I found him saying the exact opposite on 2 separate occasions. So I guess I'll show you one of those. Because the real line doesn't have anything to do with him saying as long as he's trying or if he really wants to be good or anything like that. He simply says that he can pick up a controller and be good at a professional level in any game. But like I said, here's him saying the exact opposite because I can't find the original anywhere.
I was a moron back then saying dumb shit. No, I cannot pick up any controller and play any game at a professional level. And if you actually believe that that's fact, that's just stupidity. Okay? Now a lot of people made fun of me for that and said, ha, yeah, like Phil's gonna play League of Legends competitively, Phil's gonna play Call of Duty competitively or whatever. But it's funny because over the years, if you watch my gameplay, right? Take a look at Call of Duty. There's actually been years where I play it quite a bit, and I'm actually good at it. When I play it, I'm dominating. I'm always at the top of the leaderboards. I'm the one with the crazy kill streaks and everything, right? And people are like, where does this come from? Because All I've ever heard is that Phil sucks at video games, so how is he good at Call of Duty like this?
It's called skill-based matchmaking, and DSP is the only person that doesn't understand the very mechanic that makes up Call of Duty matchmaking. It's the one reason I refuse to play Call of Duty games anymore, as someone who actually enjoys a Call of Duty game. I understand they're slop and they're not worth money anymore, but I enjoy the gameplay and refuse to play them when they do come out, because of skill-based matchmaking. He rage quits enough sessions or does so poorly in enough sessions that the skill-based matchmaking takes pity on him and throws him into scrub lobbies after a while. It does it to everybody. The entire point of the system is to make sure that you're having a good time, to make sure that you're playing people on your skill level, quote unquote. And if you're performing poorly consistently enough, the game will think that you're in the wrong skill range. It'll think that you're not having fun. And as a direct result from that, it'll put you into a lobby where the people couldn't put the square block into the square hole, if you know what I'm saying. And those are the lobbies where DSP does well. Those are the lobbies where he's top of the leaderboard and has more kills than anybody else on the team. And like I said, it's this very mechanic that I don't enjoy about Call of Duty. Them trying to tell you when you are and aren't allowed to win is the reason why skill-based matchmaking is completely ludicrous. You'll never have any idea how good you actually are if you're not consistently competing against the general pool of players. And I apologize if my hatred for skill-based matchmaking comes off as a little strong, but I really would take 1,000 games with loot boxes in it instead of any skill-based matchmaking. It really is just a blight that is ruining PvP, if you ask me. Because at least I can decide to not pay for loot boxes. You can't opt out of skill-based matchmaking. It's not an option.
You tell me, right? And in Street Fighter, I mean, literally any Street Fighter that I've played, except for 5, because I hated 5. Legit, I just straight up hated Street Fighter 5 and didn't want to play it. I thought it played like trash. But any of these games, you know, that I've tried playing and I mess around with, I usually get decent at. But then I just don't care.
But I have to question then, what games are you getting good at? If it wasn't Street Fighter 5 and it's not Call of Duty because skill-based matchmaking, which games over the past 10 years did you get good at? Street Fighter 6, is that your most recent example? The game where you said yourself you can grind to get master and it's not actually skill-based? That doesn't exactly prove your point, stupid. And since I have the power of hindsight, which is totally 50-50, you guys, I know that you couldn't hang in the purple ranks with Yoshimitsu. I know that you couldn't make the cut. I know that you rage quit Tekken 8 and are gonna refuse to play it from now on. But I guess that's the latter part of the lie coming in, where he stops caring, where he doesn't care if he's good at the game and he just stops playing them. That's how this lie is so bulletproof, because he can say and justify being good whenever he wants without actually meeting any sort of prerequisite to prove that he's good, and just quit whenever he wants, then say that he didn't care anymore. What a coward.
Right? Like, admittedly, take a look at the fighting games I covered in the last, like, 10 plus years. The Mortal Kombat trilogy, so that would be 9, 10, and 11. Injustice 1 and 2. I'm trying to think like what Capcom games I even would have played, because not Street Fighter 5, because I tried Street Fighter 5 and I hated it. You know, Tekken 7, which is really a joke compared to how I'm covering Tekken 8. That's true. Smash Brothers, I did when the new Smash Brothers came out. I tried that. Multiverses is another case, right?
It's absolutely insane how bad he wants to retcon all of the history, because anybody who's been following the guy for an extended period of time knows that he wasn't good at any of these games that he's talking about. Was he okay at them? Sure, I guess. Was he necessarily good? I don't think so. And all of these sessions were filled with salt, filled with rage, filled with hitting the controller and acting like an asshole on stream. I know that that doesn't necessarily disqualify you from being good at a game, but I don't think that typically players who are good at a game get that angry about a loss, get that angry about not being able to beat somebody.
Basically, what I do is I cover them in a way where I play a bunch of characters. I go through the story modes. I'll maybe switch around, try some good stuff with each character, and then I just drop them within like a few weeks. I'm like, all right, whatever, it's run its course. I never really try to learn the competitive nature of the games at all. I don't bother with it. I feel like it's not worth the time.
And when he says not worth the time, he quite literally means not worth the time. That the amount of time he would spend being better at a video game is not going to equate to actual money. That the amount of money that he would make on those streams would be significantly less than if he were doing something else, if he were playing a hot new release that other people wanted to see. I just think it's funny how frequently you will hear people say that something is not worth doing, and typically they don't mean monetarily. But for DSP, it's always about the money. It's always monetarily. It would have been worth doing if people would have paid him enough money.
Now, here's the thing. I feel like now, since Street Fighter 6, since I actually put in the time and effort for months and months to get back into competitive fighting games, I feel like I'm back in a position where I could get good at fighting games again if I so chose. But people ask me, well, what are you doing it for? Are you actually going to go to a tournament? No. No, I'm not. What? Yeah, there's a difference between playing a fighting game casually, playing a fighting game at a good level, and playing a fighting game professionally. Those are three completely different experiences, you know?
He's right. Those are three completely different experiences, but I think that the reality of the situation is that DSP himself understands that he's not good enough to hang in those crowds, that he doesn't have the time, patience, or skill to do that anymore. I mean, he definitely didn't have the time, skill, or patience in the past either, or the funds for that matter. That's why he went into debt the way that he did. But I also think that even DSP understands that if he went to one of these tournaments, that he would have to nut up or shut up. He'd have to put his money where his mouth is. There is no online connections. There's no rollback netcode. That he has to be good, and if he's not good, then everything that he said was just kind of a waste of everybody's time and a lie. And despite DSP being completely delusional at this point after years of self-pignosis, even he understands that all of his coping during these Street Fighter sessions are exactly that. They're copes. He's plotting, scheming, scamming his way into making people think that he's good when he's really not. At least I hope that he does, because it's really, really obvious. Maybe I'm just underestimating how really far gone and delusional he is.
Casually, you just don't give a shit. You're just fucking around. If you can land a good combo or get a few wins in a win streak, haha, but it doesn't matter. Trying to get good at a fighting game, it's a different level. You feel a level of accomplishment when you overcome a big adversary, or you go on a good win streak, or you hit a good ranked level like I just did last night. But absolutely not am I going to go at a pro level or anything like that. I don't care about it enough. If I did, do you have any idea the amount of investment it takes? Take a look at the pro players out there who are doing the best. They're signed to teams. A lot of them have sponsors paying their way to travel to do this. They are constantly playing the game. Some of them a minimum of 5 hours a day. They're going to every tournament, every online competition. That's how you play these games at a high level, right? Not by just dicking around casually online a couple hours a week. You're not going to do that, right?
But you absolutely could, and people have done it in the past and continue to do it to this day. Because your end goal doesn't have to be #1 at EVO. Your end goal doesn't have to be the best player in the world. You can have fun playing competitively. You can have fun striving to be better and better every single day and see how far you can make it. And sometimes it's that journey that your audience wants to see. Sometimes they just want to be on the ride with you to see how far you can make it, so that they can continue to root for you and be in your corner and feel like they themselves are helping you strive to be better and better. Because there's absolutely fun to be had for that audience that is constantly pushing their content creator of choice or their competitor of choice further and further. I unironically think that there would be people in DSP's audience that genuinely would like to see him go to a tournament and at least do something, even if he doesn't place, even if he doesn't do well. Seeing the footage of him going, interacting with other people, actually trying to play, and potentially doing well enough that he considers doing another one, I think that they would like to see that, and then they would get streams where he is trying to learn new tech, he is trying to be better, they could help him like they did in the past. He could really lean into that. He could make that a staple of his content if he really wanted to. But instead, we're going to sit here and chase these day one views. We're going to sit here and continue to play all of these games that only a handful of people want to see at a time. I'm looking at you like a pig roach infinite debt. Nobody wants to see that shit. They'd much rather see you go and actually do something that you want to do. But apparently going to a tournament is not one of those things. DSP's not interested in even playing competitively like that if he's not going to be #1, which he never was going to be, so I don't know why he tried in the past.
I'm just not into that. My life is very different. I enjoy being a variety style content creator here on YouTube. I want nothing to do with the professional grind. I know what it's like. I've been there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've actually been there in that lifestyle. Back in the 2000s, I was traveling around for competitive Street Fighter and everything. And dude, I do not envy that lifestyle. It is very draining. It is very stressful. It is time consuming. And it is definitely, if you ever heard the term grind, that's like your life is a grind. Your whole life is just a grind to hopefully finally make it. Get enough wins that you're notable, that people talk about you, that people want to see you play. You know what I'm saying?
And to me, this is just another example of DSP not understanding that most people grind in their life. That's just the way it has to be, whether it be at work, for their family, or in a hobby that they want to be good at and something that they want to be recognized for. Musicians are constantly grinding to make their music better, to get it recognized somewhere. People who want to be good at games are constantly grinding to be good at them. And people who genuinely value their work or the money that they receive from work grind at work. That way they can buy the next thing, they can get ahead in life, and they can own their own house house or whatever. DSP is so scared of grinding. He's so scared of putting in the time and the dedication to do something. And that shows in his content. All he wants to do is get on camera and give you the same drivel day after day. That's why none of it's interesting. That's why it's the same topics nonstop. That's why we have to do the schedule every single day, because he doesn't have anything else, because that would require time. That would require thinking on his end. And he just doesn't want to do that because that's a grind and that's no fun.
So, no, I have no intention of being competitive in that regard. But to actually be able to play fighting games at the level I'm playing them is pretty cool. Like, I feel good about this. Playing Tekken and... Alright, we're starting with Yoshimitsu. And when I start a fight, I feel comfortable at the beginning of the fight. I know kind of three different strategies I can start on fight and see what happens with them, right? And then situation, I'm starting to learn situational stuff in the game. I'm starting to learn actual character matchups and the like. You know what I mean? Like, I'm learning this stuff, and as I'm learning it, I'm just getting better and better, and I'm having a good time with it. I am, okay? And I'm happy.
And that right there should be enough for you to continue playing DSP, for you to keep the game in your rotation, even if it's only once a week, because you genuinely like doing it and like improving. And that right there should be enough reason that you would practice in your off time, that you would continue to watch those pro level videos and gain the character knowledge off screen. But of course he can't do that, despite all of the claims that he's having such a good time and really enjoying the game. Practice? Offline? Are you out of your goddamn mind? DSP wouldn't be caught dead playing a game offline not for money, unless of course it was with his wife or WWE Champions polls. Those are the only two exceptions, sorry.
That I've done as good as I am. Now, it's hilarious because as soon as I hit purple rank last night, in came the negative comments from idiots. You only do this mashing bullshit and you do this and that's how you win. It's like, ha ha ha. You want to know the truth? That makes me feel good. Because if these idiots are so upset that I hit that rank, that means that it actually is notable that I hit the rank. Correct?
No, stupid. They just know that it was a rank that you were valuing. It was a rank that you were putting a bunch of gusto on that it probably didn't even deserve. And this is not me trying to put down anybody who was playing Tekken 8 and got to purple rank and was excited, obviously. But I've seen DSP play, and if that's all it takes, I wouldn't exactly be bragging about it the way that DSP is. Especially when he's the one comparing it to the diamond level in Street Fighter V, which according to him and everybody else that I've heard talk about the game isn't even where the real challenge starts yet. If you're not playing in Master in Street Fighter V, you're basically playing with nobodies. But it says a lot about DSP that he put so much value on this rank simply because other people came out of the woodworks to dog on him when he hit it. That just shows you how much control the trolls actually have over his life, how much he actually cares about what detractors are saying. This rank wouldn't have really meant anything to him if they didn't come out and say that he shouldn't have hit it. Because at the end of the day, it's really not about what we did on stream. It's not about making good content, and it's not about being good at this video game. It's always about sticking it to the detractors. It's always about proving them wrong. That's the only thing that matters.
Because if it didn't really matter, then no one would care or say a word. But the fact that the moment I hit purple, people ran in to leave comments of how nasty, you know, how stupid I am, how I suck, that's fucking hilarious. Because it means that they're pissy about it. They cannot take the fact that last year I told you all I'm going to commit myself to Street Fighter and I'm going to get good at it, and then I got multiple characters into Master Rank. They're so pissy about that.
Which detractors is he talking about? Can he name drop them specifically? Because all of the ones that I've talked to, including all of you cool cats in the comments section, had nothing but nice things to say when DSP was playing Street Fighter V. How you were enjoying the Salt compilations, how it was the only gameplay that you could stomach because he was getting bodied again and again and again. How you were enjoying all of the cope sessions that we got on the level 1 pre-stream where he was talking about the Cannon Brothers and the netcode and the PC conspiracy. So again, DSP, which detractors were pissy? Let me know. Call them out.
That happened. And by the way, a positive win-loss record on every one of those characters. I wasn't one of the people who grinded for 7 months to get one character to master and had like a 20% win-loss ratio. Every one of those characters had a positive win-loss ratio in master, right? And the same thing now with Tekken. I have won way more than I have lost because actually it was Even the Great has been keeping stats. And if you take a look at my statistics, with Yoshimitsu particularly, I think I only had, out of all the nights I've played, 2 nights were losing nights, meaning I lost more than I won. But every other night, I have won way more than I've lost. Like last night, and we're talking high-level red, and then these purple matches that I was having, I won 66% of the time.
Wow, DSP, 66%. You were really doing it to him, huh?
That's a great ratio. If you're winning 2/3 of the time in anything in life, you're winning. That's great. So I'm actually pleased with how things are going. It's not, oh, Phil is lucky and stumbled into these ranks. I'm actually getting good at the games and getting positive win-loss ratios and doing well, and that's excellent. Now, the one thing that does disappoint me, all right? I'm going to be honest, this disappoints me. It doesn't seem like the viewership is along for the ride. What do I mean by that?
What do I mean by that? I mean, you guys aren't giving me enough money. It's very simple. I need your money. That way I can continue to play the games that I enjoy. You know, all of those games that you don't want to see, that you have very clearly communicated to me that you're not interested in having on the stream. So hand over those Velcro wallets and give me all of your disability checks, because I want to play more Tekken 8 and I can't do it simply because I enjoy it. I have to have some sort of monetary gain from it. Sound good? Sounds good to me. And by the way, God agrees.
I am not getting the amount of any attention or engagement like I did with Street Fighter 6 with Tekken. I'm not saying that I'm not grateful. Last night, the support was outstanding. The stream was well supported. But when I was playing Street Fighter 6, dude, people were there all the time. The viewership was high. The views on YouTube were high for the videos. That's why I was able to play Street Fighter 6 for 7+ months as a featured stream, right? Right now with Tekken 8, I'm only playing it twice a week as a late night stream, so like 2.5 hours each night. And that's about the most I can do. It doesn't even really work as a daytime stream. You know, people just don't seem as engaged for that reason. So yeah, like for me, it is disappointing. I wonder why. You know, I wonder why people like Street Fighter 6 so much better.
I actually wondered the same exact thing, because I couldn't stomach the gameplay for either, in all honesty. Yeah, the Salt compilations were cool and all, but the actual gameplay, I basically fall asleep as soon as the match starts. The very first match. So I have no idea why Tekken 8 wouldn't be retaining the same audience that Street Fighter 6 was. It's not like he has a bunch of Street Fighter aficionados in his chat or anything. But like I said, hindsight is 50-50, and now we know that this was just the proto quit. This was him doing the setup so that he could just quit the game whenever he wanted, which was very soon after.
Do you want, because people now are asking me questions like, which game do you think is better? Yeah, that's a really tough question. I think both of them have outstanding graphics. Both of them have great controls. Both of them have really great, you know, systems in place. If Street Fighter 5, if you said Street Fighter 5 versus Tekken, I would have said Tekken. But now I think both games are complex enough with their engines and stuff going on, and have enough going on in them that they're just really good. It's hard for me to actually pick. Really, it's hard for me to actually pick. I think they're both really good.
I swear to God, DSP fence sits everything. He can't just tell you what foods he likes. He can't just answer hypotheticals. He can't just tell you what games he enjoys. It's always, well, it's really hard to pick. I can't really say. They're so different, you know, very hard to compare the two. Let's compare apples to apples, and these aren't both apples to apples. It's so goddamn obnoxious. Dude, just tell people what you like, what you enjoy. Maybe that would actually help them tell you what games they want you to play so that you actually have an enjoyable experience on your streams. But instead we get this shit. Oh, I can't tell you what I enjoy because maybe somebody's going to disagree with me and I'm gonna have to stand by my own opinion. It's just so obnoxious to see this 41-year-old man not say anything with his chest, not take a stance or an opinion on anything ever. Well, I guess I can't technically say that, because the one stance that he can consistently take is that he's dunking on trolls and constantly proving them wrong. Ironic that the one thing that he loves to stand on is the one thing that is undeniably false.
So yeah, it's a hard choice for me, because I like both a lot, but the viewers definitely have chose Street Fighter 6. Like, when it comes to me playing fighting games, Street Fighter 6 is the game that more people came out for, more people were excited for, and even now, I'm getting good at Tekken. I hit purple rank. People are like, so when are you going back to Street Fighter 6? Are you going to play with Ed? No. I've been saying it for 2 or 3 weeks. No.
But if people have been asking for 2 or 3 weeks, you think that you would do something with that. You would think that you would just dedicate a night to when Ed comes out, playing with him, and then going back. It's really not that big a deal. Just play the new character.
I'm not doing that. I have no desire to drop Tekken and I'll go back to Street Fighter 6 just because a DLC character came out. No. Maybe down the line, but Tekken 8 is very exciting to me right now, and I want to keep going. I mean, what's my next goal? I want to hit blue. I want to get to blue with Yoshimitsu, because that's kind of where people consider master rank, you know? So I definitely want to keep going.
And if that's what you want to do, DSP, that's fine, that's great. You just can't expect people to continue to support you playing games that they don't want to watch you play, and have specifically told you what they would like to see and you outright refuse to do. You can't have it both ways. You don't get the best of both worlds.
And I hope that people, again, will be along for the ride. I was very happy and pleased last night when people actually were very supportive of me hitting purple. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, that's really nice of people to actually support like that. We hadn't seen that level of support for Tekken in a long time, you know?
But didn't you just say that people were asking you to play Street Fighter 6 instead of supporting you while you got purple rank in Tekken 8? I swear you just said that.
Street Fighter 6 is the game that more people came out for, more people were excited for, and even now, I'm getting good at Tekken. I hit purple rank. People are like, so when are you going back to Street Fighter 6? Are you going to play with Ed? No. I've been saying it for 2-3 weeks. No.
Yeah, that was only like 2 minutes ago. We're really flip-flopping that quickly. We are retconning history almost immediately. Say what you want about the guy, but he is always pushing a narrative. He never lets that shit rest. If he's talking, he has an agenda to push, and why would he beat around the bush and waste his breath by not doing it at all times?
But anyway, thank you for being along for this journey. Again, in my 40s. About to hit 42 years of age in a month, actually. Wow, 1 month from today is actually my 42nd birthday. I didn't even realize that. And I'm actually doing better at fighting games now than I ever have before, with the exception being the mid-2000s when I was doing so well at Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I would argue that was the highest level of competition I've ever had, when I was winning tournaments and stuff in Super Turbo. But outside of that, now is the best I've ever been. And I'm old. I have bad reaction time, right? And I'm still doing well. That's pretty crazy.
But it's not really that crazy if you listen to what DSP says when he talks about fighting games, because he's the one who's always telling us that it's so much easier to play fighting games nowadays, and you don't even need to know the fundamentals. You can just spam, you can just abuse online. So if you actually listen to what he says and take him at his word and all of his excuses, you would think that it shouldn't be that surprising that he is as good as he claims that he is. Because apparently anybody can do it just using these simple tactics. I don't know why we're sitting here patting ourselves on the back on something that we apparently debunked. But of course, it's always whatever works for the narrative today. Just whatever, whenever, because we said so.
So anyway, I certainly hope that you guys are enjoying this stuff, and I'm going to keep with it, stick with it, and try to get my Yoshimitsu to blue. I don't know if it'll happen. What very well may happen is I'm going to hit a wall where, because I only play the game a couple times a week, I just don't have enough knowledge to win anymore. I'll win a few, then lose a few, then win a few and lose a few, and never be able to proceed, because people are going to have these advanced tactics and strategies that I'm not going to understand. You know, right now I'm having a lot of problems with character knowledge. Every time I fight a Kuma, I lose because the Kuma does something I didn't even know was in their moveset, because I've only fought like 3 Kumas, right? So that's what's going to keep happening, is that people are going to hit me with these moves I don't even know what they are, and then the whole round's over, like son of a bitch, right? So, that knowledge gap, that knowledge gap is killing me right now. And only playing, you know, twice a week is just, it's going to be rough.
And I let him go there for quite a while, because as I said earlier in the video, this is the pre-quit. This is him setting up so that the next time he plays, he has a built-in excuse that he already warned you about on why he's changing his mind and no longer playing Tekken 8. He's sitting here setting up a cope live in front of everybody, because the very next Tekken 8 session was the very last one. But that's gonna have to be a different video, because this one's over. But before we go, we have to take a look at the comments, obviously. So shout out all of my members. Jerry D9000 says, I wonder how his wife thing feels every time he calls someone grossly obese or disgusting due to their weight. This isn't his first time doing it either. She's not exactly hitting her BMI, and if Phil looks at his own gooey self in the mirror and thinks he's some kind of pinnacle of health, he's dead wrong. Shout out to Phil's yonkers. And that really is what's so weird about him calling out Boogie and EDP for what they were eating during that interview that they were doing. Because it's not like those two are really the pinnacle of health either. Especially not Cat. But hey, it's rules for thee and not for my wife. Naysayer 3 says, if DSP refuses to do even the tiniest bit of research on a topic before giving his opinion about it, he really should just keep his mouth shut. He ends up looking worse than he already does, and it's such an unforced error on his part. I agree, he looks much worse speaking on things that he doesn't understand rather than just keeping his mouth shut and moving on. But of course, he has to know everything. So shout out everybody who watched the video, especially if you made it this far. And hopefully I'll catch all of you guys in the next video, but until then, make sure that you check out other Detractor channels and dive deeper into that. Snortax.